What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? And
What
welcome to the
up?
Remedy Room.
Why we be laughing?
I have no idea, but listen, that song be bumping though.
Because we be jamming. I
Can
know,
you
Bob.
imagine that in a car with some heavy bass on a summer night?
hey, you give me
Right.
those Compton vibes anyway, Mr. Perspective. So,
You know what I'm saying? I'm on the west side, you know.
Let me start
hey,
crip walking over here.
hey,
Don't,
everybody, I'm
because she
so
really
glad.
can, though.
Yes,
She really can.
I'm so glad you joined us today. I'm your co-host, Arthur, aka Mr. Wright, and I'm joined with my co-host, none other than Mr. Perspective himself,
What
Carlos,
up? What up?
my lovely wife, the First Lady, Akia. And if you're thinking about apologizing, please don't, because she doesn't want to hear it. Miss Unapologetic herself, Shamika.
Good morning.
Hey guys, we got an exciting show for everybody today, and we just wrapped up our first episode. How did y'all feel about
Whoop,
it?
whoop.
It was good.
It
It
went
was
great.
it was good.
It
Mm-hmm.
was
It was
fun.
good. I think so.
I had a good time. I really had a good time.
hmm hmm
Carlos, I see that hat. Does that mean that? Does that hat mean anything?
My hat?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just my initial for my first name because it's profound. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay. And Miss
Mhm.
Unapologetic, you got the like Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz kind of vibes going on. I don't know if those are those pigtails right there.
Did you just call me Dorothy?
he really did.
I mean, I would have been better if you would have went to the Wiz instead
Oh,
of the
okay.
Wizard of
My
Oz.
bad.
But I mean,
So I have a confession.
Okay.
you've
Oh,
never
Lord.
seen it. If you tell me that,
I've
You
never
never seen which one?
The Wiz. I've never seen The Wiz.
Ease
So
on
we want to
down.
thank
Ease
y'all for
on
coming
down the
on out
road.
tonight.
we don't
Or today,
just
rather.
turn off the camera.
Here's my black card.
Because
I'm
Turn it
gonna
off.
get in.
and she the main one in the promo talking about love being black.
I do.
Well,
Who haven't seen the Wiz?
maybe she was at boot camp when it came out because she definitely has the military vibes going on here.
Okay.
I ain't even gonna front
She
like I'm
won't
in the
dare.
military.
She got them poetic justice braids
Do and the earrings.
You
drinking to
look
the
good,
middle.
honey. You look good.
Yeah.
Thank
hey,
you, honey.
hey guys. So listen, we talked about friendships last episode, which was a very good episode.
What
A lot of
about your friend?
yeah, we go.
Hey.
I've been standing
Hold up, we might have
around.
copyright problems.
You right.
We
You're
sung
right.
enough. Just let it
You're
go.
right. But Kia, I would just remember you were saying that we have to remain, balanced in our friendship.
Mhm.
Carlos, you told everybody that they have to be able to grow
Mm,
within their friendship. And
yeah.
Shamika kind of rounded it off by saying, yes, it's okay to add friends, but typically when you get a certain age, adding new friends is going to be a lot of work. So no new
Ain't no more.
friends.
Ain't no more.
If
Ain't no
you
more
look,
new
if
friends.
you made it this far as of when this airs and you are considered a friend in my life, you made it.
Hey.
Because it ain't no
Mama,
more.
I made
That's it.
Hey, Baba.
it.
That's something to be thankful about.
There you go. But having friends and having lifelong friends or just friends for that season of your life,
Yeah.
it's a blessing because I mean we can't get through this alone.
Nah.
No.
Okay,
You
so
definitely need others for
yeah,
real.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
most
agree.
importantly, you need God.
Hey,
Huh?
Hey,
Come on,
hey.
somebody.
I feel like
hallelujah.
First Lady want to get it started.
She do.
I'm trying
She
not.
asking for a word.
I want
Going
my
for a
I'm
mule.
word.
trying not going
See
into a word, but I feel like eventually in this episode I'll have something to give you. But right now, I'm gonna let Brother Arthur, also known as Pastor Wright, take it back over, and I'll return later. There you go.
Yay, thank you. The doors of the church are now
Pass the offering plate. We need our building fund money.
Okay.
open.
My Cash App is.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
We'll put it on.
All right, so we have another exciting episode for you guys. We wanted to talk about forgiveness. We talked about friendship last episode, but we want to talk about forgiveness. And tell me what you think about this quote. Appreciate those who love you. Help those who need you.
Wait a
Forgive.
minute. Are you like trying to look to the side like we can't see your eyes?
Why you put him on blast like that?
Just move the paper in front of you.
Pastor gotta have notes.
Hey, listen, y'all not.
But when the pastor had a note, it's
It
right
be
on
your
the,
own-
right,
in
right
front of
It
on
be
the
your own
stand.
wife putting you out like
Hey,
that.
what?
The
He
pastor,
like this.
the
He
pastor
like
don't
this.
be going to his seat to read the notes. It's right on the podium.
See, this is why I talked about I'm your husband and not your friend. Now let me start.
He's starting off in the storefront. He still ain't got the teleprompter yet.
Oh, okay.
We don't have that's not in
He
our
got to
budget
hit
yet.
that.
Listen, put the paper in front of your
Forget
face.
those who leave you. All right, so forget the quote. Let's just hop right into it.
No, I want to hear
No,
the quote.
I wanna hear the-
No,
I need
let's
it.
hop- let's
I
hop
need to hear
right
Bring the
into
quote
it
back.
because
Bring the quote back.
I'm
No, it was good.
It was.
Is it
Run it
okay?
back. Run it back.
I'm trying to forget.
You have it on a piece of paper? Is that what it is?
I had it on a piece of paper. I couldn't remember it all. The quote.
So just hold it up.
Hold it up.
You know
baby, and
what?
Read it.
We
Read
gotta
it.
hit. We gotta hear what
Read.
scripture you coming from.
Uh,
Read.
Appreciate those who love you.
Uh-huh.
Help those who need you. Forgive those who hurt you.
Okay.
Forget those who leave you.
Okay, can you read it one more time? Because my mind was wandering a little bit. I'm sorry.
Per
One
usual.
more time. One more
She
time.
not in the spirit.
Half of the time.
Appreciate those who love you. Help those who need you. Forgive those who hurt you. Forget those who leave you.
Okay.
Okay. I have my little voice almost. I think that's a very accurate quote.
I would agree up until the last one. Forget those that leave.
That's where I wanted to get with this because it might sometimes be easy to forgive. Some people might say it's hard to forgive, but then forgetting though, I think is the difficult part. And so if you're how do you forget somebody or forget something if the person is still intended to be in your life because you forgave them? So do you forget what happened? Do you forget them? Like, well, what's that process? What's y'all's process or rationale in forgiving and forgetting and all that?
So I think if we're going off this quote, they could be talking about individuals that fall under one umbrella, not because I feel like what y'all thinking about right now is if there's one person who fits all these pieces.
Okay.
But you might have somebody that comes in your life that's just there for a moment and then they leave. Nothing happened. It's just.
And so you just you just go on. You just move on.
Like,
you don't try to hold on to something that's not meant to be there.
Correct.
If they come in whatever their purpose was for you at that time, it happens and then they go. So just let them go.
Yeah. I'm just trying to read
you're not going to forget them though. That's what I'm saying. Like you can let them go, but you're still going to
let it go.
You know.
Wow, I'm gonna forget them.
I don't remember everybody.
Well, all right.
I mean, no, and it's not even like because something happened bad or they were like a bad person. I don't remember everybody like from my 20s and even early teens. I don't remember everybody. I know there's some people I've came across, but I don't remember all of them.
Wow. Okay.
And it's even some people for me, being part of the military community. I meet people all the time because that's just what we do. We try to make and it's people that I knew and may have gone somewhere out to eat or whatever. And I don't ever think about them. But if I do, I can say, I don't even know. Why did we stop talking? Oh, okay.
Mm.
And I don't even give it a second thought. I'm just like, okay, well, whatever. I don't.
Right.
Is this selective memory, or is this like you really don't remember these people? Like they added no value to
I
you?
think that's what it is. I think it's the significance that they played in your life.
Yeah, I
Mm.
agree.
And if it was
Mm.
just something like that, to me, it's just to fulfill a void because you don't have that. So, most military people, you don't have your close friends, your family. So it's just to fill that void of having that community. And then once you leave there, a lot of times you never talk to those people again
Correct.
because it was just for that season. And
Correct.
so not nothing may have happened. It's just I'm done, and I don't want to be your friend outside of,
Right.
or
Well,
And
y'all,
see, I
y'all.
feel
Oh, go ahead,
I'm
honey. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No, I was gonna say I feel some type of way about that. So, like for example, you know how when you go to work, or even thinking back to like high school, you may have been cool with somebody, like y'all like tight. Like I've had friends at work, like we are tight. Like I remember having a friend. We used to tell each other everything, like she was a Shamika. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We didn't talk outside of work,
Mhm.
but at work, like that was my dog. We went to lunch together. We gossiped together. We were cool. But then when I left that job, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well maybe we'll text every once in a while. But then it didn't happen. I felt some type of way about that.
Mm.
Because your common thing was work.
True.
So it
Mm.
was nothing outside of that. It was
Correct.
work. It's like having a friends with benefits. Your common thing is the benefits. After that, we don't need to talk.
Period. But you wanted more. This is where you gotta know what works for you.
Know when to roll.
You gotta know when to dissect for you, and you gotta be mindful of. I mean, I know in that situation you probably weren't thinking like deep into it,
Right.
but it kind of is displaying like you got to know what you're going into. That's why, like last episode, I was talking about like explaining expectations. It's
Mhm.
important because that person was like, "That's the homie at work.
Yeah.
We work
I ain't
friends.
doing nothing else." But you was ready to carry it further. She was like, "That ain't what it is." You know what I mean?
Mm.
And you know what's funny? She was of the other persuasion.
Oh, there we go. Good.
See, so
So yeah. And I mean like persuasion, like she wasn't black. That's not something.
We
right,
know.
we know what you
We
mean.
know what you're
Oh,
talking
okay.
about.
I think we understood.
Oh,
what
my
you were
bad.
saying.
Okay.
Well, okay. Y'all know I think with logic. So when Shamika was telling me about military, I understand it because her answer was very logical. Obviously, she moves around a lot. Obviously, she has friends that she has grown up with and been in her life for a significant amount of time. But then in her moving around or through the military, obviously, those are in some cases, a lot of those situations might be seasonal because of the time and place that she's at. So I can understand that logic. But when Kia was telling me about hers, was like, well, why aren't you like, why, forget, but Carlos brought in another logical piece was, and Shamika, well, this was your work friend. And you might have wanted it to be more, but she had no intention of it being more, but just that, work commonality.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I get it. I guess not that I necessarily wanted to hang out with her outside of work. I guess it was just like once I left the job, that was it. Like I haven't heard from her since. And I felt like we had a little bit more than that, even if it was just a text like, hey girl, I hope the new job is going well, or
Mm-hmm.
you
whatever.
feel some type of way
I'm
about
about
this.
to say, I said you still waiting on that
you
call?
Need, you need to make that
Okay.
call. Reach
You might
out,
need
do
to reach
something.
out. I
I
agree,
can feel
Arthur.
it.
You might need to reach out and get some closure, even if that text or whatever you.
Dang.
Because you're holding
Y'all
on
know
to
how
it.
Nene Leaks was like,
You holding on
Yeah,
to
you
it.
hold it on.
You
to
are.
She wanted her to be in the wedding, and she won't say it.
no, I just like, I don't know. I don't want to reconnect. Like I wouldn't want to hang out with her necessarily. But if the opportunity presented itself,
Then
I wouldn't be
you would.
like, nah, I'm done with her. I'd be like, okay, girl, let's go, catch up.
How long ago did you last speak to? Oh, from this job. So how long ago? About?
Oh, this was what, like
in
3?
her teens.
She was in South Boston.
You working at McDonald's?
You said 3 years ago. About 3 years ago.
Mhm.
So that's not
Okay.
super old.
Yeah, that's not
You-
super.
You
Yeah.
need some closure though.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like
I
you
think-
might
Yeah, because
wanna-
you on edge right now.
Yeah.
you might
Well,
wanna
that brings us to another topic. Before we really dive into forgiveness, have you ever wanted to be somebody's friend and they didn't want to be your friend? Has that ever happened?
I don't know nothing about that.
Nope.
I mean, you were like, why aren't we friends? Like, we're like in the same circles. Like, why aren't we? At a
Now
different
I ain't
place?
gonna chase no friends now. Now that's one thing
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do.
Me either. And I
Okay.
think
Mm-mm.
I sit and look. I think about the situation, and then I'm like, okay, so what do we really have in common, and what do we really like? I'm probably not gonna. I'm gonna act different. I'm almost 38, so I'm gonna act different than a 19-year-old.
Right.
So if I met a 19-year-old and they were cool, cool little teenager, I wouldn't say, oh, we should be friends, because then I'm gonna think about it. The stuff that you think is fun, I'm not gonna think it's fun.
right.
You gonna be out here living a reckless life. I got a whole 2-3 kids and a husband that so I think you just have to evaluate why you're not friends with someone or why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of times you may have friends that you just work out with, and that's just it. So I may not tell them what I would tell Akia.
Right.
Because we may hang out, but we just, our main common thing is working out. Well, you might have a drinking buddy. You just turn up with this person.
Right.
So are we definitely saying that there's a line drawn between family and friends? I'm talking about a friend that we treat as if they're family, as opposed to just friends. Do we have that as well?
I would say so. There's a distinction there.
Yeah,
But I think
agree.
I think you make that distinction. It's a choice.
Mm.
Because there's some people I met everybody's family, and I'm like, okay, but that don't work for me.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, some people you don't even want them to know where you live.
Because you
I
don't
don't
need
need
to
you in my
know.
house.
Right.
I don't
meet
need
you
them
at the bar.
spirits.
Right.
Mhm.
You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I got you.
And it's not because like they're a dangerous person or they're out of control. It's just the vibe.
You
Does that
just
make
don't
sense?
mesh. Yeah, you just
Yeah,
don't mesh
yeah,
well. Like,
yeah.
it's just,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody gonna pretend. I'm not gonna act like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
all right.
We
All
are.
right. So since friendship and what our main topic, our subject for today, forgiveness, go hand in hand. I'm just going to read the definition of forgiveness, and then we can dive a little deeper into it.
Read.
It's the reading.
Put y'all hands up, because we about to be at the altar.
Hey, Arthur,
Yeah.
is this one written on paper?
Yeah.
Put it in
Oh,
front
okay.
of your face.
Okay. All right. Forgiveness, the conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve it.
Mhm.
So, do we have a struggle with actually forgiving people that have done us wrong or did us dirty?
Who want to go?
It depends. I think for me it depends on the degree of the hurt. Example, so y'all know I wasn't raised by my biological parents. And both of them have passed away. And so just recently I had to forgive them for not playing a more significant part in my life. And so I held on to that for my whole life. And just recently, because I had to just be content with, you're not going to get that apology
Right.
because they're not here to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
However, I needed it, but I just came to terms with forgive them and move on. And so now today I'm fine. Like it doesn't make me upset or make me be like, well, why didn't they at all?
Wow.
But I mean, a month ago I would have been like, I just don't understand. I would have had some resentment and whatever. So I think for
Right.
me it just depends on what a person does.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Key, you want to go? Or?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think for me, it's easy for me to say that I forgive someone,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I have a hard time really like letting go of that, if that makes sense. Like I can verbalize, oh, I forgive you, it's okay, it's not a big deal. But in some way, that feeling is gonna come up again. Like I might just have the attitude and I'm not quite sure why, or that person irritates me and I don't really know where it's
Gotcha.
coming from. And then, like taking a step back, it's like, well, maybe I am still holding on to whatever, the situation was. So that's something that once we decided we were going to have this conversation today, I was like, man, I really probably need to work a little bit harder on that, like really letting go.
So a lot of times you don't finish the process.
Right. That's why I'm in the remedy room. Y'all helping me.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I feel a word.
I'm at the altar. Today.
I ain't about to do it. Right now. I'm trying to contain.
Hold your
dealing
right, I'm dealing. He dealing with me in this season. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Wright, would you like to go ahead and speak since you know?
Well, I was listening to, and I asked a question about being selective in who you let in and everything like that. So I don't know if I let people into my psyche that far enough to make me resent them. So I don't know if honestly, outside of like a love relationship, and we can talk about that as well in the mix of friendship. I don't know if people get to me that much to where I'm resenting them or they hurt me. Now, obviously, physical harm or something like that, somebody coming up and punching you or or hitting your car. Obviously, you got to make a choice to say, okay, it's okay. I knew it was a mistake. But someone that is deliberate and trying to hurt me.
They said no.
Somebody that's trying to deliberately hurt me, I don't think I've ever had that, or I've known that they were trying to deliberately hurt me that to cause me to say I have to forgive them.
Okay, so I think I would agree with you when it comes to a friend. I can't remember a time where a friend got me in that space, but I guess we can segue into relationships. As far as relationships, I think because relationships can be more intimate, so you do allow people into areas that your friends will never experience. So, forgiveness. So I would say years ago, it was harder than what it would be today. But I think it's important for you to forgive because you will walk around and carry so much that you don't even have to no more. And even if you, in retrospect, it probably looks like they don't deserve it, like that whole saying they say, do it for yourself. So just forgive them.
Right.
And then on the flip side of forgiveness, a lot of times we got to dissect ourselves too to say, okay, did I contribute to this in some way, whatever may have happened? right? Can I be that upset
Right.
with that person
If I
based
had a
on,
hand
yeah.
in yeah.
Because I mean, there are some people out here who experience things that is just like they were a victim straight up, right? But in some situations, it's both sides. Now, it might be one side that had a larger percentage, but nevertheless, y'all both play a part.
Mm.
Um, and so, honestly, some people I think just want to be mad to be mad.
Mhm.
They thrive off
Mhm.
of it. Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
makes them
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
So, but I found in my own personal experience that forgiveness was necessary for me to move forth and to realize that the things I might have experienced actually were very helpful in the
Mhm.
weirdest way, right? Because when
Hmm.
you're experiencing something that's hurtful, in the midst of it, you're just like, this is some bull, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But after, when you sit with yourself and reflect, you start to see like, okay, this is what I needed to get from this, and this is what I needed to learn, and now I
Right.
got it, so I understand more. So that would be my take on forgiveness. I think it's definitely necessary. I think it's definitely harder for some people than others, especially if you had patterns of
Yeah,
hurt.
yeah.
Mhm.
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 For me, I would say I didn't have necessarily multiple patterns of hurt. So when it happened,
Yeah.
it was very profound. You know what I mean? So I had to deal with that with myself. Like, what do I do with this? Like, should I be cold? Because I used to be very cold hearted. So like, I had to figure out, okay, do I tap into this and
Mm.
act like that,
Mm-hmm.
or do I go the other way? Because doing this right now is almost band-aid-ish. It's
Yeah.
not really, solving the issue at hand. So
Wow, I'm definitely getting Fantasia vibes from you. I am who I am today. It was
yeah.
necessary. I'm definitely
Yeah.
getting that from
I
what you're
would
saying.
I would definitely agree with the lyrics of that song.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I got you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Carlos, why would you categorize yourself as having been cold hearted? Like, were
Mm.
there things that contributed to that, or is that just your personality?
I think there was definitely things that contribute to that, being younger. Um but I think I adopted it because it
Mm.
became a norm to me. And it
Mm-hmm.
was easier to maneuver.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I was very emotionless. Is that a word? I don't know, but it
Mm-hmm.
sounds right, right? But I was
I
very
told
like,
y'all we met on a on a
I was very strategic with how I operate as far as when it pertains to feelings. I knew
You
how to
sound like
control.
somebody else I know.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Who
I
is
knew how to control certain feelings because I didn't want to feel them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Um, and but baby, when I tell you God will deal with you when
Won't he
it's the
do?
when
Yeah,
the
he
time
wanted
is
to do it.
right, he'd be like, no, 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 we're not gonna do that no more because you're not gonna be able to go higher in what I need you to do.
Higher
But
heights and deeper
deeper?
depths.
Yes.
okay, so
So
go ahead, Arthur.
so Kia, when I posed the statement or the quote about forgiveness and the last line it says forget those who leave you, you did that kind of like spark your interest, as far as like forgetting. You didn't know if you agreed with that last line. So I kind of want to phrase this from a relationship standpoint. Obviously we all have exes, and we all have people that have come in our lives and played a role in our lives, and shaping how we think and everything like that. um, when you have a breakup with someone, what is that process supposed to look like so you don't harbor feelings of resentment, in the future with somebody that you don't deal with anymore? So that's why that forget line is prevalent to me, because I'm like, well, if I had a bad breakup with someone, um, for me to forgive them, I have to forget those who left me. And that way I can move on. But then in that process too, I struggle with that because for the people that I don't have a bad breakup with, that we just severed ties because something, just happened. It just wasn't our time, not the right timing.
Because you
Like,
were supposed to be with me, baby. That's
That
why that
part.
ended.
Hey.
can you still be friends with someone that you were in a previous relationship with, and it'd be okay? We're just friends, and they don't add anything to my current love life, but they're somebody that we didn't have a bad falling out. Can that happen?
Can I jump in here?
Come on in, brother.
So I have seen that it's possible, but now I'm in the space that I am in today. It's almost like, for what?
Mm.
Why do we need, like I said, each his own, right? But what is the purpose of still having a relationship with the ex? Unless y'all got children and stuff that's different, right?
Okay.
The
Okay.
connection there, that's gonna be there. But like, there's no ties there. Why are we?
Why?
Why?
What's the purpose? That's
Mhm.
how I start.
That's how I feel about
I'm
it,
living now. Like, let's do things with intention and purpose. Like, we don't need just people just standing around. We ain't trying to have a crew, a whole entourage,
The
and we
ex
don't
crew.
even know why 20 people is here. Why are you
Oh,
here?
okay. I like how you
You
phrase
know
that.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's, I feel like that's how you should look at it. Now, if they play a significant role, I don't know. Maybe y'all have a business venture, you know what I'm saying? But if you have a business venture with your ex girl, you need to make sure your wife probably getting 50% of this venture. You know what I'm saying? Like, it need to make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Just to
because
have them around teeter tottering, it makes no sense. Like,
Gotcha.
what are you
because we
doing?
know how
Mhm. I'm not about that. I don't
listen,
care for that.
right? Because we know
That
how people can have hidden
Right.
intentions.
Right.
They could prance as soon as there's a vulnerable moment. Like, ain't nobody got time. So
Mhm.
alleviate it.
Just let
Right.
it be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
I'm cool with one ex, and we have a 14-year-old together. And we call each other one big family. It's not,
she
oh, we
14.
friend.
Oh
She'll
my
be
Yeah,
goodness.
15 in a couple months.
she's
Oh my.
definitely 14.
That's
And
it.
and
I
that's
don't want to
your
be
Oh
friends
my
with nobody else.
goodness.
and that's your god baby.
I just
I know it's
I
fast.
can't
It's
wrap
fast.
my mind around that.
She gonna be at that HBCUs.
Hey.
Hey,
Stingets
Will.
or Sonic Boom, one of the two.
hey. But
Sonic
yeah.
Boom. Uh,
Oh.
okay. So
So
what is the purpose? Yeah.
for exes, I think it should be forgive and forget.
Forgive
Like,
and forget.
forgive them and then go about your life. Like, you
Gotcha.
don't need to
And,
be.
and for the people out there, that doesn't mean you have to have a negative connotation of the ex. Even
Right.
if it
Oh,
was a
I love
bad
that.
breakup.
Right.
Y'all can still have a good thoughts and things of that nature, but like, why are you here?
Mhm.
What do you want? And then the other question is, why do you want them there? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
Right.
Mm.
because some of y'all be trying to hold on to stuff because you don't want nobody else to have it.
Oh, speak on it.
Let it
Uh,
go.
Let it
Let it
go.
go. Just let it go.
But yeah, I think you just have to be mindful of what you're doing. And you also got to be mindful of your new mate, like how they feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
let me ask y'all this. So if, let's say, Arthur, or, well, I'll use y'all since y'all ain't here. But let's say you had an ex and you was like, oh, we cool, whatever. And then if First Lady expressed like she's not comfortable with that, should there be pushback?
Well, I honestly, we have
What you
experiences.
got?
I mean, we've been married for 10 years, going on 11, and been
Uh-huh.
together for over 15. We've experienced this in our relationship. I'm like a logical base. to where in my mind I was thinking that I could still be friends with someone, but if it made sense, because of family, how big my family is, and it wasn't like a thing where it was like a family friend. So I that's how I rationalize it.
Okay.
And you know, I don't know if, well, I think it. I don't
Come
know,
on,
honey.
Pastor.
You got me. You got
Come
You
me.
on,
need
Pastor.
you
Let
need
it
your
out.
notes. You need me to get you some notes. I got some.
I
Spit it
need,
out.
well,
Commercial.
but yes,
Wrong to go back.
but yeah,
Okay.
it's tough. You know, when you think that you have a reasoning for it, but if it does, you know, hurt your significant others, you
Feeling.
know, feelings, then it's something that you have to grapple with and you know, lean on the side of your
But
mate, I
is it
guess.
something you really have to grapple with?
You don't. You
Because
shouldn't have
in my
to.
mind, it's like, okay, Bay said
If I'm uncomfortable,
you uncomfortable, then that's it.
do what you got to do. Because
Mhm.
I'm your wife. You shouldn't need to be friends with anyone else you were romantically involved with. What are you talking about? For
No,
what?
but if it wasn't no romantic involvement, you know, it's kind of like I don't want to be the person that's like you can't be friends with someone, because that's not the friendship. Uh, that's not my place to tell you who can be your friend. I think that you're grown enough to make a decision on who you
But
consider a friend.
we're talking about somebody you dated. We're
You
not just
dated.
talking about
Okay, yeah,
random people
Just
like this is the
right.
friend I picked.
right.
We talking about somebody dated, whether
Someone you
you're
dated.
romantically involved or not. You claim this person, y'all had a title, right? And
Mm.
whoever knew, right?
Right.
So there's history there. If yours, I'm not saying you have to do this, but I would, if it was me in this space that I live in today, I would definitely be like, you're not comfortable. All right, cool. Then that's
Mm-hmm.
done. Like, because I feel like you have to, kind of like what you were saying earlier, you are her husband.
Right.
If you're going to wear that title, I think you just have to definitely make sure that environment is always comfortable
Mm-hmm.
and make them feel safe and make them feel wanted and make them um, feel valuable. And
I don't.
if she
Yeah.
feels less valuable because of that, then that needs to go. I mean, I ain't never been married, but I'm just
No,
saying,
no, no, no.
if
Yeah,
I was to
that's
do
good.
it,
That's a
that's
good
what I would
rationale.
do. You know what I'm saying? But
I
Yeah,
don't
no,
even
that's a good
think it
rationale.
needs. Yeah, Carlos. I don't even think it needs like an argument or a reason why I need to be friends with this person. It should just be I'm uncomfortable. Opposite person should say, okay, cool, it's done,
right.
and just go about go cook dinner, go do something.
Now, if you have somebody that starts to just want to pick off everybody that you know, like, oh, I don't like this person, I don't like.
Right.
Now that's
Yeah.
a whole nother
That's
thing.
That's
different.
different. Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. But ex, I think it's a no brainer. But that's just
Mhm.
me.
No, no, no. Those are great. So definitely ask someone that you were in a romantic relationship. I can understand the reasonings why your significant other now would have a problem with you still being friends. And yes, if they're uncomfortable, then definitely you should, you know, sever ties with that, to bring peace and serenity into your new home and that it be blessed. So I definitely agree. Yeah, definitely agree.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So is forgiveness only with friends though? Don't we have forgiveness with moms and
Mm,
dads and
yeah,
sisters and brothers
Mm,
within your
absolutely.
family unit?
I think for me, um, forgiveness and communication go hand in hand. That's my opinion. Like
Okay.
you could be holding on to an issue or something that happened, but you never mentioned it. You never said
Yeah.
anything to the other person. So now you're just stewing in that. So how can you forgive them if you can't even address it? my question. Like, if you're not communicating about it, how can you let it go? Or do you want to let it go?
Okay.
Like, so yeah,
No.
I think, you know, I've had some situations where I have just been upset about something that I never mentioned to the person. But once it came up, I felt like a relief. It was like, oh, okay, now I feel better. Like, now I can move on. So that's why I
Right.
feel like the two go together. If it isn't something you're willing to talk about, you're not going to be able to forgive the person for it. Even if the conversation doesn't go the way you think it should go, or even if the person never apologizes or whatever, at least you have acknowledged that this is how you feel to that person, and you can kind of move forward from there.
Shamika, I like how you phrase your question. So you said with like and thank you for your comments, kid. You said like with a mother, father, family member. So if we're looking at this like forgiveness definition, so harmed you regardless of whether they actually deserve it or not. So when we approach the person, do we have to approach them to tell them why we're in a bad space, or are we just supposed to forgive them? Just release it. If our mom or dad has wronged us, do we have to let them know that they have wronged us, or do we just forgive it? Does it have to be brought to the forefront? Because will that person, if we bring it to the forefront, we have to anticipate their response to what we're saying. And I think that's going to play a big part on how we continue on with the conversation. So, do we bypass that, or do we have to address it and then forgive, or are we just supposed to just forgive them?
I say you have to address it. You have to at least try.
Okay.
And then, however many attempts you try to address this, whatever, to them, and they shoot you down, then I think it's time to move on to, let me just, pray about this and try to just, forgive them and release it. But first step, you have to address it. You don't know what their response is going to be.
Well, okay.
So
I
you
love that.
just, you
That's true.
ask,
Yeah.
tell them what hurt, ask them for forgiveness, whatever. I don't know.
And
But yeah,
if they're
address it.
not receptive to what you bring to it, then that's when you say, okay, they're not gonna ever get it. But that's not, I gave it to them. I let them know what my issues were, and I'm leaving it pretty much at the altar.
Yeah, you did what you had to do. I feel like as
Right.
long as you do your part,
Do your
that's
part.
that's it.
Right.
So after you've done that, then just move on.
I love
Right.
it.
Because the forgiveness is not contingent upon their apology or their response.
Right.
So when you go into the conversation, knowing that and acknowledging, like, regardless of the outcome of this conversation, I'm still going to forgive them. But I do think that you at least owe it to that person to tell them, hey, you did X, you said this, or whatever. At least give them the opportunity to say, dang, I didn't even mean that, or I didn't
Right.
even realize
Right.
this is what happened. Give them the opportunity
Right.
to hear your perspective, and then they can move forward more aware, so they don't repeat it or whatever the case. I think that's important.
Wow.
I agree
Wow.
with that.
But I do have a question.
Good.
So is there an expiration on when you can bring up these types of feelings to somebody? Like if you're holding on to something that happened a year ago.
Statute of limitation.
Right. Like, is it fair? Is it fair to bring it up a year later?
You may need to be in the right headspace though.
True.
Because if something happened to me 2 years ago and I addressed it 2 years ago, you might get popped in your face. But 2 years later, I've grown a little bit. And so I'm not going to respond that way. I'm ready to actually sit down and talk versus throw hands on you. So I feel like some situations, it may just depend on where you are.
Facts. Yeah.
So it's that pretty much is that time heals all wounds. That sometimes we can be too rash in our approach to try to tell the person how they wronged us because we haven't really processed how we want to forgive them or that we need to forgive them. We just want to tell them that they did us wrong. Like we're not
Right.
even in the headspace to say I'm a pig, but the time will tell where we can get in and prep for, okay, I have released this. I'm bringing it to them because I want to get it all out of my system, and I will let the chips fall where they may.
Time heals all wounds if you're willing.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Mm.
You have to be open to a changed mindset because a
Have
lot of
to be.
people will stay stagnant in the way they think. That's why you got people out here who's 50, 60 years old still mad at their parents
Mm.
Mhm.
because
Wow.
they're just stuck. They didn't
Yeah.
evolve. So I think you have to definitely have an open mind. You have to open up your spirit. You have to become more self-aware.
Yeah.
And then I think that's when that elevation will transpire to where you're able to, like Shamik said, come back a year or two later and address it in a mature fashion instead of
I love it.
ready to bust windows and stuff like that.
We some head busters.
Our time is almost gone, but I want to just if we can give those in the remedy room any advice on how to prepare for the forgiveness, how to prepare your mind, or any tips and tools that you can use in getting your psyche right.
First lady ain't about it.
Your psyche right
trying
to
to
be able to
prepare
approach
nobody.
somebody, to be able to approach someone that has done you wrong, to start that process of healing and forgiveness. Do y'all have any tips and tricks? I would say a lot of people say counseling. Somebody can speak on that, but any tips or tricks that you can give those.
I would say first and foremost, dissect yourself.
Check yourself. Yes.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Everybody want to do this all the time. Point the finger,
Right.
point the finger. You did this, you did this, you did this.
I love it.
Especially if you're a person that does that a lot, it's probably you.
Mm.
Let me take some notes. I'm writing it down. Right now.
Once again, my Cash App is
Check yourself.
But yeah, I would say that'll be the first piece you need to do.
We can't see it.
Not the notebook.
You need to pass that.
You need notes in the remedy room.
Yeah, I think that would be step one. I'll let somebody else. I mean, I can go forth, but
I have nothing. Go ahead.
I'm with step one. That I was gonna
Yeah.
say, check yourself. Like
Yeah.
you gotta evaluate self before you try to go and tell somebody else,
yeah.
what they've done to you and how they
Okay.
should have did. You got to figure out what you doing,
Yeah.
and
Gotcha.
then proceed.
Yeah, I think.
So,
Yeah.
so I have a question about that.
Okay.
Because that's something I struggle with. Okay. So what I hear y'all saying is what I hear y'all saying is basically like you can't be mad or upset or angry or feel some type of way about what somebody else did even if you yourself aren't, 100% innocent. Is that what y'all are saying?
Yeah, because you could have hurt their feelings, and they
Yeah,
just
but
haven't said.
Yeah. So I would add to that. It does. I don't think you cannot not feel those feelings. I think you definitely can feel those. But like Shamika said, I think it's more sitting and looking at the bigger picture. Like, okay, what role did I play in this? Did I do something as well in this situation? Like I said before, there are some people that straight up victimize. That's a whole nother, to me, I feel like,
Okay.
conversation. Like,
Okay.
somebody who might have been raped and stuff like that. That's heavy. I can't even begin to speak on something like that. But as far as an exchange with two people who had dealings with each other in whatever capacity and something went down, a lot of times both parties played a part. Like I said, there could be a bigger percentage on the other side, but there's always something that we all can do better. And I think
Gotcha.
once you look at yourself, it'll make more sense on how you can go about addressing it. Because you might go into it and be like, oh, I'm mad about this, I'm mad about this, I'm mad about this. When really you
It ain't even
know,
about those things.
come on. You know what I'm saying? Also, I've experienced where people are mad about, like, kind of what Shamika said, about a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm just the target.
Mm.
But I had nothing to do with none of that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So it's like,
Right.
because we became, I guess, in close proximity to each other, and I was a close figure, a person that was loved on hard because I was the go-to. I was also the target. Does that make sense? And I'm talking
Yeah.
about in a
Yeah.
relationship situation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I got you.
So,
But if you're genuinely hurt, if someone just hurt you, then no, I don't feel like you need to say, "Well, what did I do to just get punched in the face?" Like,
yeah,
Mm.
no,
yeah, for
you don't
sure.
need
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that. But if
Yeah.
it's something, if
No,
you had an argument and y'all are going back and forth and, tick for tack, and maybe
Things were
this
said.
person says, I'm sick of you, get out, and
yeah,
you put me out, and now you want them to forgive you for because they put you out. Okay, but you was calling me this and that,
right.
and it took two of us to create
So,
this confusion.
right, the word is accountability.
So,
Yes, that's the
We
word.
we all got to take accountability for what we did.
hey guys, it's looking like that we're gonna have to have a part two on
Mhm.
forgiveness,
Oh my.
because
Mm.
we're still at the first point is check yourself
We
before you wreck
we can
yourself.
tell who's forgiven some people and who has not.
Mm.
So listen, you don't pass go, don't collect 200, go straight to checking yourself as your first priority in your road to recovery and your road to forgiveness. You got to check yourself first.
Don't
But
pass.
I think we're going to talk about this some more. I think we have to have a part two. I think that we can finish this up on our next episode. But guys, I thank y'all so much for joining in and tuning in to the Remedy Room tonight. Always remember, you don't always have to be right.
Be open to a new perspective.
Put yourself first. Check yourself.
Yeah.
And live your life unapologetically.
That part.
Guys, hey, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.